And a very warm welcome to the Tour of Poland. After yesterday's drama, the end to that sprint finish, it really was bruising. Today we enter stage 5. I think they were probably hoping for a little bit of an easier time of things. Well, they haven't got it. 255 kilometers in all today. And it is destination Świdnica. Yes, indeed. And once they get there, it is, of course, the end of the long, flat section of the Tour of Poland. Mountains tomorrow. So there is the finish line awaiting us today. Well, kind of a stiff breeze, heavy cloud. Thankfully, no rain just yet. It is a little bit nippy and the leg warmers are on out there. This is the run for home. There's the map, of course. But when it comes to the end of the day, it's another punishing street circuit. 3 times 5.4 kilometers in all. There's a quick look at it for you. And a couple of nasty turns involved as well, although the run for home should be clean and clear. There it is, with our wonderful Eurosport 2 inflatable light bulb there for you all to see. But what about yesterday? It really was a punisher. Yes, we're just hoping for no repeat of that. We thought they'd got into the barriers, but in fact it was over-enthusiastic foam hands, as you can see, that were getting in the way. It just diverted the riders. Down they came, and a number of them actually crossed the line on their backside. Well, thankfully, we did have a winner, Danilo Napolitano of the Lampre team. They've been working so hard for a couple of days, and Danilo it was that took over the leader's jersey as well. And as you can see, here they come across the line, and it was nasty stuff. Graham Brown, one of those from Rabobank, who got involved. And well, let's just hope that today, David, I feel it's a little bit cleaner than this.
I'm not so sure, because perhaps the circuits might thin him out a bit more, but these sprinters, it's their last day in the saddle in sprinting, because the next couple of days it's going to be sort of conky and they won't be able with a chance to get a stage victory. So I think a few that haven't quite got there so far will be going for some revenge today. No doubt about it. It could be a very interesting finish. Let's hope, though, they all get across the line upright and on 2 wheels.
Well, here are the peloton, and guess who? It's, yes, you've guessed it, Lampre that are leading them out again. And the reason is they're busy chasing down 2 escapees. I use the term chasing down loosely. As you can see, they're enjoying the sort of training ride. I think the punishment of the mountains tomorrow, which they are expecting, and it will be delivered, believe me, they've decided to let these 2 lads off the leash just a little bit. Lucas Bodnar wears that red jersey, and quite right too. He's the sprint god, it seems, of the Tour of Poland. First couple of days he was out there, once on his own and then sort of taking various partners. And he's determined to hold on to that red jersey right until the very end, I think. He's been joined by Adam Wadecki. Both of these are from the wildcard teams. Wadecki's from Ceramica Flaminia, and which is an Italian outfit, but albeit with 3 Poles on board, a couple of Ukrainians as well. As for Intel Action Unique, which Mr. Bodnar, Lucas Bodnar, of course, he does have a brother in this tour. He's the Polish time trial champion, and he's been putting those skills to the fore in this tour, and he's doing it once again.
Carlton, there's something going on.
There is a little bit of a breakaway, that's what I said.
Yes, and I think something's either happened to the yellow jersey, or somebody's gone back a bit, or there's some reason that they've decided to give it a bit of stick here.
Yep.
And some team managers said, right, go on the front, and you can see there's a gap opening up, because somebody of importance is further back, and they're really going for it now.
I think Napolitano, when he stopped for his rest break, I wonder whether I don't know, sometimes if you do stop, the muscles cool down, David, and then when you get back on, you can pull something. You can pull something. We'll wait and see.
There's something more going on than that.
Something a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. Somebody's upset the apple cart for some reason. I think it's just not only down to Napolitano, when he had his little natural break, and De Luca and two other had a natural break, then they don't attack, and it's far enough back for them to have got in the mainstream and work their way through.
And look, they're looking back here and wondering who they've got amongst their own team. They're trying to sort of count up and muster themselves. Rabobank have got their vanguard amongst the escapees here, kind of a separate bunch, if you like. And there we have it. 3 minutes and 10 is the gap between them now and the two escapees who have been out there on their own for such a long time. So clearly they're winding them in, David, and they're winding them in short order and probably before the inflatable arc.
Yes, a long way for the way they're going now. Something's gone on back there, and somebody who's in with a shout to win this race overall by the time we get to Saturday
has been left behind.
Been left behind for some reason. Now we don't know whether he fell off or but look at this now. They got a crosswind, and again, team managers, what they do is very often they look at the route, they get on their maps, they know where it is, and they watch the wind coming up. And when they go into an area with a crosswind like this, I remember in the Paris-Nice about 3 years ago, when Bjorn Ries put his team straight on the front, the CSC team, and they went through. He'd actually worked out where the wind was going to change, and somehow he also knew that it was in open land like this, where there was no shelter from the wind. They came through a wooded area, out of the woods, into he put the whole team on the front and blew the race to pieces. And the people at the back just right along that we're seeing here, and suddenly the gaps were opening up, and they had to echelon. And they were in little echelons, and you've got good guys with not so good guys back there. So if you've got a good guy, he's trying to get the echelon going, and he drives to the front, he drips back, and all the pace he's at, he tries to drive him again, and they say, blow you, mate, you're the boss, you know, you go and do something. And then there's really fascinating. I hope our camera goes back up there again, because
the leader's jersey's
here.
The leader's jersey's here, David.
Well, there's something else going on.
We'll have a look in a moment, but I think that is Napolitano just in the centre of this bunch.
I don't think it matters about the leader's jersey today. No. It's to do with who's going to be in with a shout to win this race on Saturday and Sunday, I would suggest, because the yellow jersey today, if he loses it today, then so be it. But if they come back, he's in with a shout to get the sprint anyway. So they're not driving it because he's off the back. There's somebody else gone off the back, and I will have to try and find out who it is. We hope to get some information back from the race, but certainly there's damage being done from somebody who could
I wonder if it's De Luca is actually down there. Daniel De Luca in the white jersey of the Pro Tour Series, leader. I wonder if it's him that they're trying to escape from here.
And also young Nibali, who could probably do rather well on Saturday and Sunday. Looking through, you might be right, because I can't see any Liquigas riders at the moment in this little group. So if Liquigas had all gone back there after that natural break and they're just swanning around, then they might have said, right, let's give them a bit of a sort out. In fact, there are some Liquigas jerseys towards the back there. Now the team managers come out and say, watch out, lads, the proverbials hit the fan behind you, and you're going to have to watch out. They're going to come steaming past any minute now. And they say, we've got a nice little ride till we get inside the inflatable arch. And they say, we're going to go back, and lads, if we go back in the main path, they'll come streaming through here. It's coming down. They're having a chat now, the two riders. Do we keep on going?
Right, this will be it. They're going to tell the cars to get lost here.
Yeah, these are the press. The press being told to get the hell out of it. They've got to go down the road in front of the race now, and the press have been sitting there watching these two lads burying themselves, and they begin to clear the gap between them. Yes, something's happened. Here, I'll get another of the press cars out of the way.
Well, that's no good to us, a static shot, unfortunately. But there is this chasing bunch here, and there's the sub gaps for you, David.
Yep, 11 seconds, and still 3:10. It'll take him some time to catch those riders up in front. So CSC are going for it. Team Marvel are going for it. The riders from Liquigas are looking back here and leaving a gap at the moment. So perhaps they have got it is their problem.
I wonder whether the Liquigas boys are trying to pull this back to get Daniel De Luca back on board. We'll wait and see. We haven't got confirmation of that. We're just assuming. Let's have a look. There's the peloton. I think we might cruise in and have a look-see in a moment. There's our two escapees, the following bunch, and they have dropped the peloton now by about 10 or 11 seconds. So it's just narrowing very, very slightly. And there it is. In fact, it's...
The splits are coming.
In fact, there's two bunches now forming.
See, well, what's happening is that the fastest backward race in the world, this one. Yeah. Did we have to speaking backwards, you and I, reverse the words?
Wouldn't be the first time.
No. Now, the interesting thing, when I saw up the front, the Liquigas ride left a gap. They didn't come through and do their turn, so they may be trying to break up this.
I think so. I think that's what it was. They were trying to drag them back, David. They weren't coming up and doing the business, and now they've gone to the head, and they're now trying to slow it down. Can you see? They're trying to hold proceedings up, so they sort of rode to the front and trying to just manage this bunch, and they've done it successfully. They've got a second bunch along with them now. So a lot of shenanigans going out there in front. I think Liquigas were working hard there to hold things up for De Luca, but that's our guess. We of course, are not privy to the radio traffic between them, and if we could, we probably couldn't understand it anyway. Here are our two escapers.
Yeah, I suggest what will happen now is if they've decided, there goes a neutral service vehicle, by the way, the Mavic vehicle goes thundering away ahead. But the 3 minutes 10, you see, that I'm surprised they're clearing him out early on, because they usually don't clear out neutral service vehicles and so on until it's only about a minute or less than a minute. But it's splitting tremendously now.
And as you can see, our escapees are just about to be wound in. This is a double bunch, and there's a lot of concern going on here, a lot of looking back, and it's the CSC boys who seem to be most concerned. And I'm just wondering whether it is one of their riders that is the problem. And the reason we say that is there was an escape bunch went out, and it looked very, very nervy out there. Liquigas seemed to hold up the first bunch that broke away from the peloton. The two escapees who were out alone, making a couple of a brace of individual breaks, if you like, Lucas Bodnar and Adam Videcki, they have been absorbed by this bunch, and they will be soon falling off the back of it, I'm sure, and being absorbed by the main peloton. But something's going on out there, David. We had one bunch of about 14 riders went off. They were chased by a wider group and leaving the main bunch of the peloton behind. Somebody important has been left off the back here.
Well, we certainly saw when we went to break then that De Luca in the white jersey from the Pro Tour Series was doing a lot of work, and I think he's in the second chase group at the moment. Just provide confirmation on this, and all being well, with the size of the chase group coming for the lead group, I think there's enough riders in there that should be able to do something about it. But conversely, it's a good way of stretching the legs ready for tomorrow, making people suffer and saying, no, there ain't an easy sort of riding today, and the sprinters will just be holding their breath and can hang on in there. They've got something left in the tank when they get to finish, but so it ain't over yet. There's still a lot of sort of aggravation going on in there. And look at CSC, how well they're riding. 1, 2, 3, 4 riders that start to come through them. Look at the CSC team. Let me give you a rundown on the riders they've got. And people who regularly viewers of cycling will know some of these names. Bobby Julich is in there with number 11 as a team manager. Johan Janssen, the two Schleck brothers there, both Frank and Andy Schleck are there. Jens Voigt, who's come here from the Tour of Germany, which he dominated that race, and they've got the world time trial specialist and world champion Fabian Cancellara, and two other riders then, Matti Breschel and Kostegard Larsen from Denmark. They've got a very, very strong team indeed, well organised, and Alain Galopin, the team manager, knows a thing or two about team tactics. So certainly CSC seem to be the ones that they're spearheading this bit of activity, but they certainly want to get, I think, this thing going, because looking at the opportunity on Friday and Saturday of blowing this race apart, that the Schleck brothers could get to those mountains. They're not that bad. Jens Voigt, well, if you've got anything left from winning the Tour of Germany, he's quite capable of getting over those mountains. But I still think that young Andy Schleck, who was second in the Tour of Italy many weeks ago now, I think he's got a bit left in the tank, and so maybe they're looking for him as possibly an overall victor. So this is a time now to make life very difficult for other people back there, particularly De Luca Nibali from the Liquigas team, because if they miss the split, they've got to do the chasing to catch back that group at the front.
Absolutely. And Andy Schleck, of course, just 22 years of age, second this year. He's kind of burst on the scene, and just a moment ago we saw Frank Schleck taking up the arms at the front. Also Vincenzo Nibali of Liquigas is staying very, very close in, and we know he's got sprint power as well, David.
So now they're beginning to move forward, Liquigas rather, which says that perhaps they're not bothered then about De Luca back there, because he's in the white jersey, and I wouldn't have thought they're going to do the hard work unless they've been given permission to go and do it, because De Luca was marooned, I think, in that back group behind. So there's something going on between this little Luke at the front and somebody else they think could be in with a shout to win the race overall. We haven't got a full rundown on all the numbers yet a while, but it's looking very interesting how quickly too the CSC team keep coming through. A lot of other teams are not doing a soft tap at all. They're just going halfway, staying at the back, leaving it. See, when these riders go back, they go back about 10, 12, 14 from the front, and then one rider, they look back, the gap opens up, they know they've got to slot in, and it's a sort of an unwritten rule in cycling that they slot back in, and the rest of the riders further on back don't want to take part in the chase. They've either been told not to do by their team manager, do any chasing, or conversely they haven't got the legs. So this front group, they're doing the work now, and it says to me, CSC, they've spotted something, They're going to blow this thing a bit, and now...
Well, do you know what, David? Who's missing from this bunch? And it's Lamprey and T-Mobile. And if you look through those two teams, and you've got to start picking out who you think. Gerald Cholek as well from T-Mobile. He's a contender. So is Kim Kierken, don't forget, winner of this event a couple of years ago from T-Mobile. And well, Lamprey absolutely peppered with stars.
Yes, they are. They've been picking up the victories. Well, got Napolitano in the yellow jersey, but they won't look for him to be an overall victory at the end of it all. Alexander Ballan, well, he's had a soft race so far, hasn't been sort of busting a gut.
He's been protected, really.
And it would suit him, I think. So perhaps feel like Ballan is back there, out of the frame at the moment. And just looking down the rest of the... Also, I can't see any Euskaltel riders. Now, the Euskaltel riders usually bring some quite useful little climbers with them as well, and would enjoy tomorrow's stage, and they've missed the boat as well. They're out of the frame. And so a lot of teams with looking for tomorrow, coasting at the back, have suddenly got to do a lot of work, and the speed's gone to 55 kilometres an hour. That's great.
This is what's happened, David. They've started bullying the teams. We're looking for individuals, but Lamprey and T-Mobile have been dropped off it, and they've suddenly, CSC said, right, this is our day, off we go. They dragged Liquigas along with them, a couple of quick steps and a couple of Rabobank boys as well, and they've decided to do a bit of bullying themselves. So we've got a deer.
Tally-ho!
Oh, no, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
I hope it doesn't turn right and go into the bunch, by the way.
So do I.
I've seen two races, but horses have actually got involved with the race.
Tour de France about 6-7 years
ago. It was getting close to the finish. His horse jumped in and went galloping through, and I said, if the horse wins the race, it'll eat the bouquet of flowers. Anyway, fortunately, the race turned right. He went straight on. I think, by the way,
leave him alone.
I think, by the way, that lead group has actually lost some of the tail-end Charlies. There were a bit more in that lead group than now. I think the ones or two behind, they've either been told the team has to go back because we need you to help to close the gap down, or else they've got stuff. This is completely being dominated by a handful of riders, a handful of teams. They're really now giving it some... So, first real race day we've seen since the start of this race. They're absolutely going now, aren't they?
Absolutely up for it, and that's what we like. That's Jens Voigt, of course, 3 times a winner of out there. His quality in action is Jens Voigt, wearing that number 14. He's second, I should say, 3 times in Poland. Maybe he's looking to do something, but he, of course, won the Tour of Germany back-to-back as well. He's got plenty of power left in his legs, so just watch out for him. Team CSC, I think they're absolutely sick to death of this tour being dominated by Lamprey and the rest of them, and they want to get themselves up there. They're doing exactly that, looking like virtual mountain bikes, the machines that are on at the moment, albeit with much narrower profile wheels. Side on, they do look like meaty machines, but believe me, they're absolutely light as a feather, these things. So the split between the two bunches is being held, and in fact, I think the lead group, and it's still got our friend here, Lucas Bodnari, albeit at the back of the second of these bunches. You can see this is a sort of a sub bunch before you get back to the main peloton. Interesting.
It is, and looking, there's an orange jersey stuffed in this little lot as well from the Rabobank team, hanging on for grim death in there. So bad luck for the two lads who've got caught, and they've got caught at a time when the proverbials hit the fan. He's only to get out of the saddle and get onto the wheels here to hang on for grim death, because this is real bike racing. So all our prediction about how it's going to happen, where the sprint thing is going to have gone completely out the window. By the way, Carl, because the way this race has gone so far in these previous days, these riders have got the strength and ability to keep this up right the way to the finish.
They have.
So any of the sprinters who are looking for an easy ride in and a sprint finish, we're going to find somebody today who could win this race that is not the sprint, unless some sprinter has been good enough, lucky enough to hang on. But I can't see them at the moment, what I call out-and-out sprinters, being in this little group. They'd be sat at the back, biding their time, and so it could be a very difficult job to pick out who's going to win this one. Do bear in mind those laps for the circuit round there, though. We're going to be very tricky indeed. I think possibly, though, that big bunch behind might fragment even more so. We might get a few of the very better riders coming across to this one. The gap isn't quite big enough yet. 15-20 seconds is still crossable, but you see one or two of the tail-end Charlies now just hanging on there, letting a lot of people. Just depends how the quality of the riders up in the front. But I think this was the third group on the road there. That wasn't the second group. I'm sure that was the third group. They must be split into 3 distinct parts at the moment, and some riders off the back and out the back of the team cars as well. What a day.
there's a bit of a party atmosphere, I have to say. They seem to have given everybody the day off in Świdnica, and it's nice to see that the tour is so well supported. It's been going on for an awful long time. This is, after all, the 64th edition of the Tour of Poland. Started way back just after the turn of the last century, in the early 1900s, and it's been a terrific feature. Obviously a hiatus because of wars and things like that, and it used to be sort of quite lonesome, really. Its grandeur from the sort of 30s and earlier was lost a little bit during the communist era, because a lot of the big name riders didn't sort of make the trip, but it's certainly part of the Pro Tour now, and well and truly deserving of being there, David.
It is, and they'll be learning it all the way through, by the way, because yes, this race dates back to 1928, as I've been saying ad nauseum in the previous days we've been covering the race, and it was dominated, as you expect, by the Polish rider for so many years, until it wasn't until Moritz von Drest in 1994 was the first rider outside Poland to win the Tour of Poland, and bit by bit they've been improving the presentation, and now it's become part of the Pro Tour series. And certainly it's a very unusual race, as I said before. It's like overture for beginners, as we had up until today when the flatter part. Then we have the real big opera starts tomorrow, and the fat lady will start singing on the finish on Saturday. So it's a very interesting race the way it's gone. And today we had another different day without the parade we'd had before, and really racing only on the final lap. So if you just picked up now and said, oh, this is what happened before, it didn't. We had an enormous thrash, didn't we, just down the road there. Most fascinating to see that somebody was off the back and they decided to take it by the scruff of the horn. Off they went. So now then, this is the first lap. In fact, the other interesting thing too, normally they've been coasting around the first laps, haven't they? But they've started to go rather quickly here. I think
they picked it up, David.
Yeah,
and guess what? It's Lampre and Liquigas who've decided to go for it once again. Masej Bodnar was at the front and just trying to hold things up ever so slightly, because he was lost, and he was trying to hold Lampre up. They've actually now just gone round him. They've just absorbed him just a little bit, and Lampre are leading the nose of this one at the moment. And well, they're doing a terrific job. Danilo Napolitano is in there as well. He could well be his last day of glory here, David, in the yellow jersey. I can't see him doing much in the mountains. He is a sprint specialist. And finally, our man with the flags is warning everybody to go either side of this roundabout, and then they will be coming back yet again for the start-finish straight. Underneath that, the start of course, there's 3 tours. They will have completed one of the 3 tours of this 5.4 kilometre street circuit when they go by next time.
And just a reminder then of the general classification going into this stage 4, that we have got 10 riders within 10 seconds of the leader Napolitano, who has the leader's yellow jersey. 10 seconds bonus will be for the rider to go across the line in first spot anyway, so it's up for grabs. Anybody in there can get ahead of Napolitano, but they've got to get well ahead of him, because he is certainly a good sprint. He could finish anywhere in the top 3 anyway, so he's going to take some beating. But if he fails outside the top 3, then they'll be after him, because back in second spot at the moment is Waylands from the Quick Step team. He was 2 seconds down this morning. Graham Brown in the orange colours for the Rabank squad was 4 seconds down. Also was David Kopp, who won the stage a couple of days ago. He's also 4 seconds down. Maurizio Fischer of the Liquigas team at 7 seconds down. Sebastian Lang from Gerolsteiner 7 seconds down. Nicolas Russo from AG2R Provence also 7 seconds down. And the lad who's been there or thereabouts in every sprint so far, but hasn't managed to get inside the top 3, Rojas from the Castepana 8 seconds down, as is Vaitkus of the Discovery Channel, and bring up the other in the top 10 in 10th spot, Hado of Bouygues Telecom.
There they go across the start-finish line yet again. They have 2 more laps. You've seen the circuit now. You know what it's all about. Now then, David, Maurizio Fischer wearing the White Mountains jersey, rather bizarrely, as we haven't really had exactly mountains so far. A couple of little climbs in the Tour so far, but it's mountains for the next couple of days. Maurizio Fischer has also, in the general classification, he's down in 5th spot. He could be one to watch, and he's the man Liquigas are starting to think about, I'm sure, for the run in here, because Fischer knows how to sprint here. He's may well be carrying the White Mountains leader's jersey. It was slightly bizarre because of a lack of mountains so far, but he may feature. And if you have a look as well, also Rabobank are starting to wrestle into position for Graham Brown, and Graham's 3rd in the overall classification at the moment, behind Wouter Weiland from Quick Step. So all the major teams have got somebody, and all the major teams have got supporters up front ready to look after them.
So we're going to see a very interesting sprint indeed. A lot at stake on this final flat stage.
Well, there's a real breeze blowing up. There is a storm in the area. Thankfully, it's not hitting us now. It looks nice and sunny from this angle. Lovely tracking shot with the helicopter, keeping tabs on everybody here. Nice wide boulevards today, David. It's going to allow a lot more for strategy in the run for home here.
But we also saw then Baldato on our screen, one of the most experienced sprinters that there is in the game, and so certainly for Lamprey, that here we're doing a lot of the lead-out work. He knows exactly how to read it like an open book. Nice to get a shot on them, he with a little goatee beard, and no doubt about him that he's got the skill and experience to help his two riders go through. I don't expect to see him coming down to the very end of the final sprint, but certainly Baldato is a man who knows a bit about it. He's been way back since, what, 1991 he started winning events, and over the years he's got so much under his belt. It's just unbelievable. He's won stages in the Tour de France, stages in the Tour of Spain as well, and he's been one of the most consistent sprinters at all times, and he certainly knows a thing or two. So that's what they're doing now. Back still on the front then, Baldato doing the work, keeping the pace up quite nicely. In fact, looking down, he's had what, 1-2 victories in the Tour of Italy and Tour de France and the Tour of Spain. Very few people can say I won stage in the Tour de France and the Tour of Italy and in the Tour of France as well. So that's the sort of quality they've got here with Lamprey. Very knowledgeable team as well, with Alexander Balan, a winner this year of the Tour of Flanders, also in the team. So they've got the strongest team, I suppose, across the board here, and they're going to look after that yellow jersey of Darren Napatalo, who's a new kid on the block when it comes to sprinting, but my goodness, he's been showing us a thing or two, hasn't he, so far?
He has. He's been chomping at the bit the last couple of days, and Lamprey, you have to say as well, David, they're the ones who've kind of had the mentality within this tour to actually go out there and try and boss it. They certainly have been on the flat stages. We'll see what happens when they get to the mountains. They'd love to have a little bit more of a cushion bonus, if you like, as far as Danilo Napolitano is concerned when they get to the hilly stuff. But with Fabio Baldato, he's such an old pro out there, if you could possibly say that. He's been a pro since 1991, 39 wins under his belt. He'd love a 40th, of course. Multiple stages, won many of the classics and some of the blue ribbon events stages on the Tour de France, as well as everything underneath it. Amazing quality in abundance, and so many departments covered as far as Lamprey are concerned. Liquigas, though, as well, don't forget, they have got a lot of pride at stake. They haven't really shone so far, and I suspect it might be Liquigas' day, but Rabobank have also marshaled themselves into a good position here. They'll be looking to look after Graham Brown. You've got Pro Tour Series leader Danilo De Luca, who also knows his way through here. I don't think he's going to be the man that they're looking to help them out today. It's going to be Vincenzo Nibali, I think, in the run-in for them. Any predictions today, though, David?
I think we've got to go to Napolitano.
I think so too.
But I'll go for Brown instead.
Good. I'm glad. Then we're not on the same boy. Danilo Napolitano, he stayed clean yesterday, as everyone else was falling about. He had such urgency about him the day before. Maybe he's got the win, and maybe that's he can put that to bed. But Lamprey have been working so hard today. I think they've still got in mind that he can do it again.
Yes, and they seem to be quite happy that he got up there with that lead group anyway. But I'm going for Brown, but Brown was in the chasing group, and I think perhaps his leg's a bit hurt. He might say, I'm crook, Dave, I'm crook.
The thing about Brown, though, he's a real fighter, and he's going to have a lot more space to do his battling today, and he's going to have a lot more choices of lines to run in on that long run in.
Depends how much damage he did yesterday when he came in upside down, backside, front, inside out, didn't he? Took a fire.
Yes, it was an unfolded work of origami as he went across the line, and let's just hope some of the creases have been ironed out today as they come round once again. We're going to head back towards that start-finish line of this 3 times circuit. That means, if I'm not mistaken, they will have completed 2.
Yes. You take your shoes and socks off, keep counting if you don't have to fingers. Yes. So, well, I think a lot of the riders at the back will be thankful today's stage is over and done with after that tremendous chase they had, and particularly some of the mountain goats will have been quite happy that things come back together again and they can sit in there and stay out of trouble. The finish looks to me like they can come through in a straight line, and we won't have too many problems. But,
oh dear, I don't like that corner. There's a bit of compression going on there. Nothing too bad, and it was nice and gentle, but well, we saw the narrowing of the track yesterday, and round they come once again. crowds are out there. Watch behind you. Don't watch the cameras. Elbows into faces. Very easy thing to get to happen, as we saw yesterday with the foam hands.
Back in Eurosport, they've got a series of commentators, what they call them, some collection of odd things we say and outtakes. Outtakes. And they got one of me doing comedy, but a lady would just do like that, and she stepped forward to wave to the cameras, and half the field ran into her. I said a few unforgettable things about what they and the rest of the field did likewise. But it was quite right. They said, "Oh, look here, I'm telling you, stepped right out the front of the guys coming from behind it." Amazing.
Well, round they come again, and it's going to be the start-finish straight beckoning us, and that's going to be their last look at it ahead of the run for home. Under the railway bridge they go once again, just after the run by the roundabout here, past the Eurosport 2 light bulb, I think they call these things, these inflatables, and this long sort of easing straight here, one where they can just get together and start talking about strategy, and that's exactly what Lamprey are doing here. That's just what they're doing, and why not indeed? They've got a lot of work to do here, David, if they're going to get this one in the bag, because Astana as well are starting to have a think about today. And let's not forget as well, we've got the Mill boys, they're also having a look at this one. Milram, they're also in the frame today.
Well, Hasselbach has been there or thereabouts in the previous sprints when they've been coming en masse towards the line, so perhaps I think today is a day to go if some of the riders who have been falling off are a bit sore, so that might be a reason why they're starting to say it's back time we did something.
So there it is. That will be our finish line. Next time by, you have been warned, and just watch them go here, and suddenly they pick up the pace, and Lamprey are at the business end of this, David. They want to control it, and they're doing exactly that. I just hope for their sakes that all this effort comes to naught, because on the first couple of days that's exactly what happened.
It did, that's right. Going back to the first sprint stage we had, Brown won that, Whalen was second, Hadder was into third spot. By the next day it was Whalen from Quickstep, they in the blue colours there, took it ahead of Kopp from Gerolsteiner. Graham Brown was back in third spot on that occasion after that stage 3. Stage 4 then, the sprint across the line then went with Napolitano from Weikers and Forster, so they've been shot in the pack quite a bit so far. Who's going to be the victor this time round? Don't think we're going to see much of young Ciolek, by the way, who was going so well yesterday, looking like he was going for a victory for the T-Mobile team. He was the one who crashed into one of those inflatable hands you see them waving now, and went down a big box of tricks. Let's hope he's recovered, but I don't think we're going to see him in the sprint today.
Yeah, Liquigas have sent a man out front, a little pilot, to try and bring down the flotilla of Lamprey boys. There he is, and he's doing a good job as well, just trying to control it. And it's Kjell Karlstrom as well, the Finn on board the Liquigas team. He'll be working, trying to set up Nibali, of course, and don't forget Message Bodnar as well. Both of those two are in with a chance, and they are up there, but not quite at the point at the moment. Lamprey just decided to drift out wide, and we've got an escaper here. And it's one of the Quick-Step boys, I think, who's just decided to belt off here. Lamprey have got work to do if they're going to keep up with him. Can't quite get an ID on him at the moment. He's coming out of the shadow and into the light, as you can see, and the motorcycle has been told to get lost. And the reason is you've got a couple of hairpins here, and motorcyclists generally take an awful long time to actually go through. It's just coming down into the Army Krakovic here. We're around about 1/3 complete, and well, David, here we go. And we've got a flyer here, and he's taken it all on his own bat, and I could say Lamprey are trying their level best to wind him in. I think he's going to get caught, but good plan as well to just stretch them out. I'm just wondering who it is here, Dave.
Could be Bouygues Telecom, I think, and it's pretty typical tactics we get from Bouygues Telecom coming towards the back end of a stage like this, looking for the speed to drop it, then hammer off down the road to try and cause some damage. And of course they've got a very experienced rider, Laurent Brochard. He won't be featuring in this one, but Thomas Voeckler, who took that yellow jersey Tour de France a few years ago, he's very much inclined to nip off down the road and cause a bit of trouble, and I think he had to go the other day. So Bouygues Telecom, we haven't seen much of them all the way through in this race, but certainly they've decided now to have a bit of a go. They'll come into the race with different fish to fry. In fact, Roland Brochard, who's their team leader, won this race overall in 2002, so he knows a bit about the sort of way in which the race unfolds, and perhaps Bouygues Telecom now said it's about time we showed ourselves at front. And the rest, I think, saying, well, he ain't much of a sprinter, we'll let him fry out there.
Well, he is frying himself as well. Thomas Voeckler on board also with the Bouygues Telecom crew, leader of the Tour de France for 10 days, you may remember that classic back in 2004, where he just seemed to be well and truly in control. The question is, will this be a controlling moment, a defining moment? 3 kilometres to go, and they're on his tail now, David. I think he's just backed out of it. He just doesn't look to be pumping quite as much as those who are chasing him down. Maybe he's done his job, but Lampre, their crew, they're working so hard as they have been doing right the way through here, and they're starting to break and fan out here, and Rabobank is starting to think about having a go. Left of your screen, watch them. Euskaltel also in the frame here. Oh, they're spreading wide here. They've got plenty of room to manoeuvre, and Liquigas also joining the party here. It's been a great breakup by Bouygues Telecom, and all of a sudden there's all kinds of breakaways making attempts here, David, and out of the point here, you just can't call it just for now, but Lampre still battling to stay in touch and boss it.
And the lead-out men are peeling off the front now. They have plenty of wide room for them to peel up. They've done their work now as the sprinters are moving forward. Maybe only one or the most 2 riders left in front of them. So the lead-out men, they've done their work. Back they go. And of course, they peel back the race to powers there. We just see another one peeling back off the front. We're down to the real nitty-gritty. The top riders still there, and Lampre look like they've still got at least 3 riders in the fray.
Well, they have got a couple to 3 riders in there. Can't see the leader's jersey at the moment. I think he might be about 8 or 10 behind. Maybe they'll just slow down and try and get him back into it. But well, don't expect them to hang back too long for Napolitano. He's in. Well, is he about there? He is there. He is there. Around about 10th, and in fact, he's not. He's about 5th or 6th spot at the moment. So they're working hard for him. They've just lost one of the point men. He's drifted off. He's done his job. He'll slot in behind Napolitano. Could it be Napolitano's day yet again here? Lampre have done so much good work, and they've set themselves absolutely perfectly here. It's for everyone else to get back at them, David.
He's in the best possible place then, because at least 2 or 3 of the other riders in front are going to have to pull off. So by the time he'll be up there, he'll be relying in probably about 3rd, 4th from the front. So look, see, they're pulling back now. Moody was,
he gone down. He'd gone down, and he went wide, and I'm hoping it wasn't Napolitano amongst them.
No, it wasn't.
Thank goodness. There it is. Lead-out man just went too wide. He was followed instinctively by one of the other riders. There is our overall leader, Napolitano, in about 4th place at the moment. Well, they're all where they need to be, the Lampre boys. They've wound in the rider from Bouygues Telecom who went on, and I suspect they're going to be going by him fairly shortly.
That's the Milram rider on front right now, 1 kilometre to go. I don't think he's going to last there, and certainly there's still 2 of the Lampre riders with the yellow jersey right behind them. That fall has caused a bit of a break up behind,
and here they go. They're off the leash here, and it's Lampre 1, 2 and 3 at the moment, including Napolitano in 3rd place. Can he hold on to it? He's got 2 men to break away in front of him. They can play a terrific defensive role as we come under the railway bridge. It's the run for home now, David, the last few 100 yards.
No sign of Graham Brown, has been doing well so far. What about Kopp in the Gettosino colours, who won the stage the other day? As yet again another lead-out man goes off. They're still trying to close the gap down, but this lot are out of contention. It looks good for Napolitano in the yellow right now, but he's being tracked at the moment by one of the riders, I think from Castapan. This could be Joachim Rojas, who's been sprinting very well indeed. Is he going to hang on in there and come off his wheel?
He's only got one friend left out in front. Will he back off and let Napolitano come through? The line is approaching. Napolitano's 2nd place will be good enough for him to hold on to the leadership. He breaks the break. Napolitano in the gold. Can he hold it to the line? Napolitano running for it. Here's the line now. Napolitano, will his arms be up for 1st? It's 2nd place for him this time. 2nd place this time.
It's gone the Liquigas rider.
I think it was Nibali. Was it Nibali?
It's a lad in, no, it's the lad in white who's got that one.
Danilo De Luca. It is the 2 lead men. It's De Luca came to the fore. De Luca, the pro. I beg your pardon. It's the King of the Mountains.
No,
it's Fisher.
The white jacks, the white jersey.
Yes, it's Murillo Fisher. Got it. Oh, Fisher. Super to see those 2 boys. They've worked so hard here today. What we said about Murillo Fisher, the Brazilian, he was always going to be there or thereabouts. He was down in 5th place in the rankings. Well, he's picked up his bonus today, and he's earned it.
He has. He's been there or thereabouts. 5th overall general classification. He gets 10 seconds bonus, so that means he's now moved up to be only he could be, that's another 5 off that. Yes, he could be. Depend, where's Napolitano? Was he 2nd? If he was, he'll keep his jersey, but only by a very small amount, because Fisher was 5 seconds down this morning. He's just got 10 seconds, and then another 5. So in fact, yes, he's still in the lead, is Napolitano, but Fisher will have just narrowed the gap a bit.
Well done for Murillo Fisher. Sorry about the confusion there late on. The mountains classification man, we mentioned him earlier on, David, and said he'd always been in the frame. Liquigas worked so hard today for him. He was busy slapping faces out there saying thank you.
Yes, I'd thought you put the word white down here against Fisher, because that's the only way I could recognise him with the white jersey. So when he came out there, off he went. But well, that disruption, I think, where they went round that as the peel-out man bounced into the curb and came back out again, that I think disturbed a lot of other chasers coming behind. I rather think actually that I was saying to Churlick was probably suffering from his crash, which he brought everybody down yesterday at T-Mobile. It looks like the big guy there in pink, because that's him, I think, coming in. So he's still, despite the thump that he had yesterday, it looks like he's still in the frame.
Well, he was punching a huge hole in the air there for the man in the yellow jersey, Napolitano. He got close, but not quite close enough, and it was Murillo Fisher of Brazil in the white mountains jersey. Sorry for our confusion with Daniel De Luca, also of Liquigas, who happens to be wearing all white as the series leader. Out he came, and it was between those two. And really, if there'd been anyone to split them, David, we could have lost the leader's jersey as far as Napolitano is concerned. But it's gone to Liquigas today's victory. He will not, however, take over the leader's jersey, Murillo Fisher, but he's very, very close as we head to the mountains.
Yes, and I think that many of the look, he's looking behind his teammate. He's looking up to see if Lampre's done the job and got it, but he hasn't. He just said, so there's a lot of looking round as they go across, but that was close, wasn't it? My goodness.
And there's your split lines you were talking about.
Yep.
That was around about 5 centimetres. See, we've suddenly gone mental.
Saw you get the tape out. Never got that one in.
That was very, very close. Now look, this is the tremendous moment. This is where Lampre are leading out, the lead-off man, and suddenly round comes the leader's yellow jersey of Napolitano. Swinging wide out goes Murillo Fisher, king of the mountains, and it was between those two, a 2-horse race. I thought the quick-step rider might just get up the middle of them here. Yeah. He swung in, trying to find a little bit of the gap, just couldn't quite make it through, and they were chugging across the line there. Tremendous.
So I think Wayland's got himself into third spot. Wait for confirmation on that one. And, well, get your breath back, folks.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Wouter Wayland, who did hold the leader's jersey a couple of days ago in third place. The sprints, though, are all over and done with, David, and it's the mountains from now. Tyler Farrar not doing bad at all.
He's always been up thereabouts, in top 10, hasn't he? I think he's in the top 10 on the general classification, or not far out of it, but certainly he had a bit of a go. And anyway, they've done their duty, the sprinters. They've entertained us somewhat, and we're in for a different ball game, as they say, tomorrow.
As Tyler Farrar would probably say.
Yes.
And here we go. This is your finish, David. Amazing.
Yep, and certainly all the chaps we've been seeing so far taking part in this one. Again, anybody's there. Yep. And I'm interested. I think Churlick, if he did get across there after the crash yesterday, congratulations to him. But it looks good killed, by the way, then.
Oh, they hugged a moment later. Napolitano then stays in the lead overall. 1 solitary second after Antonio Fisher picked up the 10-second bonus for crossing the line. Tremendous, David. What a day we've had. Stage 5 of the Tour of Poland. It looked flat as a pancake today. We weren't expecting that, but we got one heck of a finish. Thank goodness. Live on Eurosport 2, as ever.